No, the title of this video is not an exaggeration or dramatic. I am saying goodbye to Wuthering Waves, just in the way that you might not think. I'm not quitting the game outright right now, but I'm realizing that the game is about to change in a way that I'm going to have to say goodbye to what was, because something new is coming, and I still don't know if I'm actually excited for that new thing yet. I've been finally confronted with the reality of the Gacha model and what that means for the characters and the story in this game, and it's something that I don't know if I'm quite ready to take on. But let's talk a little bit more about what I mean by that. The final part of Rinascita has been out for some time now, and I hadn't yet released a video kind of fully talking about my feelings towards the end of the story of the kind of climax of Rinascita. I wanted to fully see the patch through to the end with the rest of the events, with the introduction of Chu Yuan, and actually experience the whole story in full before I came to my final conclusion. And my final conclusion is I am so unbelievably sad that we are leaving Rinascita, because in a lot of ways Rinascita is Wuthering Waves for me now. And the fact that we are leaving that in full and we're going to be venturing off into a new region entirely and leaving all of those characters behind, I'm gonna be honest, does not have me excited and kind of just leaves me in a place of being disappointed. And I'm hoping that's something that can change. I had nearly quit Wuthering Waves before the end of the kind of 1.0 arc before we got to Rinascita. I had basically put the game entirely on the back burner, was doing the bare minimums, kind of just doing some of the story and then moving on. I had almost completely quit the game, but I decided I was going to stick it out to see what 2.0 had to offer. Actually, if you remember the VTuber Hexjuice, who is since retired, she's the one who actually really pushed me to get in there and to try it out, and I did. And I can say I have zero regrets in doing so. Rinascita has been my favorite part of all of Wuthering Waves. It completely cleared 1.0 and all of the patches in 1.0 in every single way. And to be honest, I've by and large have forgotten about the characters of Huanglong almost entirely. I didn't really pull for Jian, didn't pull for Jinshi, don't really play or use those characters. The most I use are some of the Black Shore characters, like obviously Shorekeeper. So the cast of Rinascita, the characters that we got in Raguna and Septimon, are essentially Wuthering Waves for me. And I have grown to love these characters. I know some people found some of the patches a little bit up, a little bit down, you know, it can be hit or miss at time, but for me, I actually enjoyed the story the whole way through. Even when some people were complaining that the quest should have been more of a character quest as opposed to a main story quest, I didn't care. I loved going into her story, getting her out of that dream realm that she had been lost into in the possibilities. I loved every step of it along the way, and so the cast of Rinascita are the characters that I've connected with and enjoy and that I love playing with in this game. And we've now left them all behind. At the end of the 0.7 quest or 2.7 quest, we actually end up fully leaving and ending up at Black Shores with all of the characters of Rinascita left behind, with the exception of Galbrenna, who does come to join the Black Shores, which was the one saving grace that happened at the end of that story. I loved the climax of 2.7. I loved the characters coming together in this Avengers-like format. But having to then walk away from all of them left me, I'll be honest, kind of heartbroken and with a little bit of a void. Like when you finish a show that you've loved watching for months or in some cases years and it finally comes to an end. That was the feeling that I was left with coming to the end of 2.7. Now later on in 2.7 we get the Chu Yuan story quest, and that's supposed to be the segue. It's supposed to help tie us back into Huanglong and some of the greater story arcs that are happening kind of before we get into 3.0 when we eventually get there. But that didn't really pull me back in. I didn't really care much for Chu Yuan's story quest. It gave me a little bit, kind of what was going on behind the scenes and what was happening in Rinascita. We kind of see how he gets the lamp and we kind of, the torch or whatever it's called from Fenrico, and getting some of those characters like exploration is good. But spoiler alert, there's a whole portion that's connected to Geshu Lin and kind of talking about his backstory, and we're kind of tying back into Mingting, which is another region/city in Huanglong, and it's kind of bringing us back into that region. And I'll be honest, I didn't really care. It sucks to say, but I did not care when they started incorporating that in. I've never really cared much for Geshu Lin to begin with. I know he's some people's favorite characters. I know Amethyst Abrams, if he happens to watch this, would be so disappointed at me even saying that I think Geshu Lin is mid, but I do. That's my personal taste on this one. I don't really care. And yet, that's where it's pulling us back into the story. And we know the new Federation is coming. We know that we're going to be getting some new characters like Chisa, who looks really cool. I'm going to be honest, I really like the look and design of her character, but I do think it's going to be going into a new direction, and I hate the fact that all the characters are being left behind. I know in a gacha game, the monetization comes from the selling of the characters, and so one of the kind of pitfalls of the game is needing to kind of keep reintroducing new characters into the story and keep that expansion going so you can keep having new characters to sell. But the problem with that then is then you have characters that you don't have this long-standing connection with or don't continue with you throughout the story. And I don't think that is what has to be the case. I don't think gacha games are locked into that inevitability. Funny enough, while this is all going on, Nikke has been going through its 3rd anniversary. Right now, Nikke has got its 3rd anniversary going on, where it's going through a new preview and event called Goddess Fall. And the main characters of this whole event doesn't even have the MC involved in it, and it's involving characters who have been part of the game since 1.0. Characters that we've known, connected with, and continued along the journey with basically the whole way through. This event, I've just reached the end of part 2 on it, and I was absolutely floored by the storytelling that they were willing to incorporate into this game. I know people just write Nikke off as a gooner game. I get it. I know why. But the story itself is absolutely unreal and left me floored for what they were willing to do to the characters in this game. I'm not going to try and spoil too much, but the point that I'm trying to make here is this is another game that excels on bringing in new characters and selling those new characters, sometimes bringing back old characters in new forms or in different kind of events and seasons. And even in this game that has a larger cast of characters than Wuthering Waves does, I find myself still interacting with and engaging with the characters that I love and have loved since 1.0 of this game. You don't have to necessarily write off characters just because you want to bring in new ones. But I feel like that's exactly what's happening with Wuthering Waves right now, and it's something that I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I'm okay with. It's very much in that place of I don't know. Am I going to actually enjoy 3.0 when it comes, when we finally get to the new region and we kind of start getting into those new casts of characters? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to enjoy it in the same way that I have Rinascita. I hope I do. I really do genuinely hope that I do enjoy the new characters that we come into. But I still can't help but feeling heartbroken by all the characters that we're going to be leaving behind that I've been playing with and using over the past year or so. And it's just that part of it has left me a little disappointed. And I'm worried that even after getting Chu Yuen, expanding on his story, trying to pull us back in, it still hasn't brought me there. Like, I'm straight up, I'm skipping Chu Yuen. I have Galbrenna. I don't care. I'm skipping Chu Yuen. I literally could not be bothered. Even after playing his story and even after using his kit in all the trials, I just don't care. So I have to say goodbye. I have to say goodbye to what Wuthering Waves has been for me in 2.0 because I know it's not going to be the same moving forward. We're going to be starting back at the beginning of a 0.0. We're going to be getting a new cast of characters, a new storyline that's going to be introduced. Who knows what characters we'll even see again. I know it's likely we'll probably see at least Galbrenna again at some point, being part of the Black Shores now. But as for the rest of the crew, who's to say? I don't know. Obviously, I'm still going to try that version of the game when it does come out. But right now, we are in the deadest of dead patches off the back end of the main story quest for Wuthering Waves, so it does give me a good opportunity to try out other titles. It's been great that the 3rd anniversary for Nikke has come out at this point because I've been putting so much time into Nikke. Duet Night Abyss has finally launched too, and I've been playing a lot of Duet Night Abyss, and I've been having a ton of fun with it. So I'm not saying that, like, you know, I'm disappointed because, oh, there's not more to do in Wuthering Waves because you should only ever play one game. I'm not going down that route. Of course, you can have other games, you can play other games when you're doing that, and actually this lull in the game itself has given me the opportunity to explore some of those other titles, but it just has me really hesitant for the future and what that means for the game and my experience with the game going forward. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. I've always thought the pitfall of gacha games was needing to do that running treadmill of characters, and so you can never connect with them long term. I don't know how Wuthering Waves can fix this. I don't think they will. I think it's just literally that's going to be the model of this, and so we'll just have to experience it as it comes. Not every game can have the peak story writing that is Nikke by bringing in 1.0 characters over and over again and still making you love them even despite new characters being introduced. So we'll see what happens in the future. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Am I out of pocket? Am I overreacting? Or somebody else in here being like, Connor, you're being so dramatic, you goof? What are you even thinking? Of course, 3.0 is going to be sick. Chisa's going to be awesome. There's other really cool characters coming. There are. I'm sure there are. I'm sure they're going to be great. But I can't help but feeling this way. But let me know what you think in the comments down below if you feel any different from me. I thank you so much for watching. Again, this far in the video, it's been good back making content. Thank you for watching. I said that. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.